What's going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys today my Trenches anniversary card recap. Best card on paper for the Trenches up to this point, and I think it's a very good debate. It's the best card that they've had. I was going to do the recaps last night, so some people putting theirs up, but I was pretty tired afterwards. I watched 40 Bars versus First Lady Flames after the event as well. It was streamed for free on YouTube on another league, ABCD Battle League, I believe it is, which is a little bit of a crazy acronym. But 40 won that battle 3-0, so a little extra battle to throw in there. 40 was really good. She's got a busy schedule coming up. It starts out with a 3-0 over First Lady Flames, who's no slouch, you know what I'm saying? But with that aside, we gonna go right into the Trenches recap right here. Also want to say this is a card that there's a lot of lopsided results, even in the most important battles, which I think shows it's a good example of it doesn't always have to be all fights and all classics. Obviously, I think that's the best case situation, but there's still a lot to take away from guys being dominant with their performances, getting big wins for their career, and guys who have performances that you kind of got to scratch your head at and come up with some critiques for. So we will start off with the fine print battles, and the opener was Dre Majesty versus Baby James. I saw a talent gap in this battle to begin with. I gotta be real, I only got to watch like the back 50% of the battle, right? Like I didn't get to see either of their first. I missed a good portion, if not like a half, of Dre Majesty's second. But then I watched the whole rest of the battle from there, and I gotta say, from the 50% I watched, Dre Majesty was up 1.5 to 0. You know what I'm saying? From the half of the battle I watched. I'm hearing that the first half of the battle played out very similar. I'm seeing pretty much 3-0 everywhere. A little bit of hearsay from my perspective, right? But it does what I see checked out with that. I just thought he's better haymakers, better, sharper, more direct. And I gotta say, even though we're going to talk about some other Trenches talents here that clearly in the moment outrank him, and there's a lot kind of more to talk about, I think Dre is a really good piece for the Trenches, and he's given good footage pretty much every time I've seen him up to this point. So definitely hope that he's in the plans going forward, because this is a pretty good 3 rounds, you know what I'm saying? 1.5, but supposedly 3 really good rounds to open up the event. And then we had Sko versus Bo the Great, probably weakest battle of the card, I gotta say. Sko did win 3-0 though, so shout out to him. Cleaner more than anything. Had some moments of comedy, some pockets he hit, but Bo just did not look like a professional battle rapper up there, from the pace to the choking. It just wasn't there. But then from there, you get to more of like the main card slots, right? So Zan versus Seabree the Lyricist. I'm seeing some people say it's a competitive battle. I definitely thought it was like a decent one. But here's my thing. It was 1-1 in the first 2 rounds. Like, Seabree, I had win in the first. I thought she outwrote Zan the whole battle, which I could have already guessed might have been her advantage in this, but I thought it definitely showed. I thought her Zan flips were fire. Just did a little bit more wordplay creativity-wise. And I did have Zan clearly winning the second. I will say, Zan, this is definitely a home game. Like, she got gassed in portions of this battle. That doesn't mean that she wasn't good. Like, still clearly won the second. Like, she earned it. But she had some, like, disrespect portions. If I took off your wig, you'd look like Ines. You know, and I get it. Like, it's just straight disrespect. No issue with it. But I wasn't really going for it. By the way, Seabree looked great. So, also the kind of made it hard, though. All the ugly jokes back to back just wasn't hitting for me personally. I could see fake angle. But, so it was 1-1, clear going into the third. I actually think content-wise, like, their thirds were pretty close, so I would kind of see the argument, but then you'd have to ignore that Zan stumbled out of her third and ended it completely abruptly. Like, it definitely would have been a choke. It wasn't. But it was a horrible ending, and there's really no other separating factor but that. Like, neither of their best rounds, pretty even, but one person stumbled all the way out of the round while one was clean. So I thought Seabree showed good composure. I thought her first was her best, kind of wrote downhill in a sense from there, but enough to get the W in this one. So I had Seabree in the first and third, and like I said, it was a pretty decent battle. And then from there, you get into one of a few ass whoopings on this card. Like I said, there was some dominant battles. There was some whooping going on. And this one I was wrong about. I was wrong about my prediction going in. And that is Muop versus Jay Moore. And I got to say with Muop, I've said whenever I've talked about the Trenches talent, when I did my top 5 new talent rosters in battle rap, I always say that he's like a level, he's good, but he's like a level down from like the real top echelon of the new guys on the Trenches, right? And I've always said King, Tex, and then Jay Moore. And with the result of this battle, there's a few things I got to say, but definitely at the very least, Even if I still feel like King attacks are above, Muop is outranking more, and it's been a great performance from Muop. You know what I'm saying? Let me just keep praising Muop for a second. I thought that content-wise in the first and second, it was a little, like, I didn't think it was the craziest, but the way that he performed, you know what I'm saying, hit his pockets, also attacked took an attempt at attacking a couple angles. Rebuttals almost got him in trouble for a second there. He had to abort mission on one of those rebuttals, but it was a very sharp performance, clearly like locked in and treating it with importance and effort, which is really what he needed to win this battle. His opponent wasn't doing too much back, but his third was his best round as well, so you can walk away happy with that highlight. Just nothing but praises. Muop won 3-0, and as for Jay Moore, this is extended to like a 4-battle losing streak. Although him and King was great. But then he's got the Young Riddick battle. He's got the Nun battle. You know what I'm saying? Both that he didn't win. He recycled versus Young Riddick. He was actually really good versus Nun, but Nun was just better. He lost this battle. The Deuce battle didn't drop on Bullpen, but I heard he might have lost that. Hearsay. But I heard he might have lost that. So it could be a 4 or 5 battle losing streak. And then a battle like this just kind of reminds me, like, Jay Moore is not a new talent. He has been here for over a decade, and he is in another developmental process, and I just don't know where the development is going to happen. Listen, I love the drug talk. I loved it, you know what I'm saying, in the King battle, the text battle, you know what I'm saying, in the bonus battle, the rebrand with the trenches has been great. But there is no growth. You know what I'm saying? There's a real lack of tailored material. He's using the same concepts and setups a lot. And he's even using the same mannerisms. You know, he's going to do a clip drop out bar. He's going to go like this, right? He's going to hold it up. And then he's going to definitely hit you with a couple of these. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's playing to his strengths, but this is a battle where you're definitely, out of all the battles, seeing people get a little bit tired and want to see more growth in the game. It's not about leaving that behind, but it is 90% that. And at this point, the people are getting tired of that approach. And that's why when you're a favorite to win this battle, Muop comes in here and just wins 3-0 against one of the weaker Jay Moores that we've seen since the rebrand. And one battle I did forget from earlier in the card, but I think it's pretty appropriate to talk about it now too, is the Trenches Tournament Final, which it has been going on for a minute, but it was Eazy the Dropout versus King. And listen, dog. Listen. I already knew King was nice, but I'm starting to really think, like, wait a minute. Like, is he nice? Like, it starts to really time to start running, like, some of the real tests. Because, listen, I want to start by saying Eazy the Dropout was pretty good in this battle. Like, I had him losing 3-0 going in. I thought it'd even be by, like, it was dominant. I thought it would be kind of ugly, but Z fought every round. I thought his third was his best. Crazy interruption in his first, kind of unfair to his momentum. But I got to respect the performance. You know, he was honorable in this tournament with pretty much a good performance in every round. I can't lie. But this was all about King. And Eazy announced him, you know, he's the face of the trenches after winning this tournament after. And, you know, he's got a real back-to-back punching style. Like, when you break down what he does, it's simple, but he says some incredible stuff. His energy is absolutely relentless. And then you get to the third round of this battle. And I swear to God, like, this whole time, I've kept saying he's, like, an aggressive and like, good Saint. You know, like, Saint, I feel like, is kind of falling off a little. He's pretty good versus Nitty recently, you know, but he's had the cleanliness issues. We haven't had that with King, you know what I'm saying? And King's rebuttal game, just out of nowhere, the last couple battles just, like, exists. This guy's rebuttaling a ton. But this angling that he did in the third, like, what the fuck? Like, that's really how I felt watching it. That was one of the best rounds of the night. It was extremely tailored to Z. All the stuff about DNA managing him and kind of like the way that he networks to get a spot, hasn't really earned it by rapping. The way he broke down his character, like, I swear to God, every battle I watch King, the next battle, he's like twice the battler. He's not just like getting better. He's getting like substantially better battle to battle. And he's pretty much dominant this whole tournament. Like, him and Moo, I guess, was like close-ish. But I pretty confidently had King in that. Then him and Jay Moore, like, it's one of the better battles of the year. It's in my top 10, but he clearly beat Jay Moore. You know what I'm saying? I cannot see a world where Jay Moore won that battle. Really, it's even that debatable. I thought it was damn near Gentleman 30. And then he just smoked. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a pretty decent Z to dropout, but we need to see a raise in competition, card status. Like, I don't know. The sky is the limit for King, and all I'm worried about is watching the next King battle, because he is number one. he's as good as damn near any new talent in battle rap right now in any league. That's how I feel about King after his win versus the Dropout. And then from there, we got to talk about the other talent I'm most impressed with out of the new Trenches class, and that is Tex, because we're going to talk about Tex versus Riggs. And I got to give credit, this is where it started getting like, there's a little 2-battle clip here of competitiveness. This Riggs battle, and the next one we're going to talk about is our competitive battles of the night. But Tex versus Riggs was dope. All like 6 rounds, 3 from each. There was no bad rounds. And I'm going to say I'm going to be in the minority the way I called it, right? But I'm going to tell you my round count right now. I thought the first was where the battles decided. I thought Riggs clearly got the second. Riggs is second the best round of the battle. The pockets up to the Joey Jihad shit at the end, haymakers, like that's where he showed kind of that difference in writing and the veteranship. And I gotta say, Riggs does nothing but give the Trenches good footage, man. You gotta call it what it is. Like he's been very consistent. Here's Eazy, he found a home here. And the third, I clearly gave to Tex. I thought that some people even said that round was close, but that's when Tex started mixing the real talk, which he's special with that. With the bar for bar, which he clearly improved on in this battle. I don't know, I think it was the third. He said 1 drop of blood is worth a gallon of gold. That whole shit leading up to that's just real life rapping. I like that. But I think it comes down to the first round of the battle. And I'm going to tell you, most people are giving Riggs the battle 2-1. You know what I'm saying? At least with the second and the first. I called the first a little different. I thought Riggs, even though he was landing good punches at the end of these setups, but he had some long buildups. It's kind of something I just don't prefer in the style, is he'll have like a scheme that, he really draws it out. And it'll lead to a good punch, but I feel like he leaves a lot of kind of dead space in there. It's wrapped well, but sometimes just a little overboard. And I thought Tex was efficient, bar to bar. I thought he started a little slow, like the first 10th of his round or so. I'm like, he needs to pick up immediately. And he did pick up immediately. I love the way that he ended his first. And I thought from there, he never looked back in the battle either. He was great for the rest of the battle. But maybe, like I said, I'm probably the minority, but I personally edged Tex the first round of this battle. Very good battle. Had Tex 2-1 first and third. But like I said, a lot of people are going to have Riggs first and second. I'd say most people, to be honest with you. Definitely did what he had to do, and it's one of those where I think both sides benefit equal, because Riggs has another great battle, you know what I'm saying, on the Trenches, and Tex levels up and is very competitive. At the very least, you're going to call it very competitive with his first mid-tier test, and I am extremely impressed. You could add Muop in there, but especially with King and Tex, both of them showed me why I feel the way I feel about them in terms of their trajectory. And I feel like they passed with flying colors here on the Trenches anniversary card. And then the only competition with Riggs and Tex for Battle of the Night is John Dom versus Serious Jones on 72 hours prep. I could never guess this battle was going to be that good. I thought they'd both be decent, respectable legends. But dog, like, especially their first rounds are their best rounds of the battle. And like the rest of the rounds are good, but they just they started on a high. I thought John was great. Picked up right where he left off versus Calico. He's been in a great bag punching wise. I feel like that's what's really one of the biggest things of this run, is just bar for bar. He's been like that. Tailored too, and a lot of people, everyone does the math and Serious angle when they battle Serious, so he got some bars off on that, but the way he paralleled it to, he's been in an infamous fight himself, him versus Hollow, and something put you through it, but when I got my fight in battle rap, I literally put him through it, like put him through something. That whole shit, I butchered it, but the way he paralleled the angles was crazy. I thought that hit crazy. The Serious flips, the dead serious shit he had was a haymaker too. He was wildin'. I thought his first was really one of his one of his best rounds that we've heard recently. Like, it was that good. But Serious's first was easily the best round he's rapped since he's kind of returned, the Geechee Rock battle and now this. He got busy. He got real busy. You the redhead, so I'm going to talk to you gingerly. He was scheming in there too. He had some real talk. So I thought Serious was going crazy as well. And Serious is more often than not competitive with top tiers. Listen, I know his footage sometimes can be boring to watch. I know sometimes he schemes like it's the year that it's not right now. I know he has those moments, but the man is a legend, and 80% of the time he's at the very least debatable, if not winning battles versus other top tiers. He lost to Geechee and Rock. Listen, 2 battles skid, but it happens, people. Stop predicting Serious is going to lose every battle 3-0 when he's lost 3-0 like a couple times in all the years he's been rapping. But he fought in the first. I feel like the first is debatable. I do have John. I just thought he was so efficient. He didn't miss a bar. Like, that's how I felt about John's first, but it goes to show really how good Sirius was in the first two, kind of with that more like witty line type of style as opposed to the straight bombs John had. Second round of the battle, I pretty clearly gave to John, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a good round, but it could have been beat. And for a minute, I thought Sirius had it. Like, and this is an example of like kind of like the funny thing about Sirius Jones. About 2/3 through his second, if he had ended the round, I think most people would have given Sirius the second round. But he wrapped so long, and that like last third of his round was kind of so all over the place. I think he really wrapped himself out of the round. I kind of clearly had John winning the second, and it's funny though because like Sirius content-wise was efficient up until a certain point, and it's just about kind of knowing when to let it go because it was the longest round any of them had, and I feel like quite literally the more rapping is what took away from it because he was just adding dry spots and not as good content. And then I actually, even though I had John up 2-0, I actually had Sirius winning the third. And once again, both of them were good. But I thought Sirius took it a step up, was actually landing with a little more power, a little more effectively. And he had some comedy in there too. Like, that's like robbing me and then helping me look for my shit. Like, that whole shit was funny. Really well-rounded Jones performance. I got to give it up to them over. You know, I got John, first round edge, second round clear, Jones in the third, 2-1, and I gotta say that both of them were great, especially on the prep they had. There's a reason that they're top 50 battle rappers all time, in my opinion, and this is why, man, because really, really good battle, and to debatably be, if not flat out, be battle of the night, when you have a tenth of the prep of everyone else in the card, it just speaks to kind of how motivated both of them were, and thank God we didn't get Verb in series, because that battle probably would have been ass. This battle is not ass, you know what I'm saying, by any means. And I do have to say, another big reason that Sirius clearly lost that second round is he was clearly a point to this battle rapping material that he had for Verb. And listen, due to the late prep, I obviously know I'm just happy we got the battle we got. But that's another big thing is, like, there is parts of this battle where Jones, this was not material for John, and that's okay. It was still a great performance, legend. Just because a lot of people have John, I do still think this was like a positive Sirius Jones performance. And now we got the main event and co-main event, and you were expecting more Battle of the Nights, but this is where more ass whoopings come into play. There is nothing competitive about these two battles. We're going to start with Av versus Hollow, which is the battle I looked forward to most in this card. Legacy plate time. God tier play for Av. What's he going to do with it? I had him winning 2-1 clear going in. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot more than just that. And I gotta give credit. This is how you show up for a plate like this. I think that Av, not just an all-around great performance, he beat Hollow at every element of the game besides freestyling. Like, Hollow had a bike freestyle about some bikes that went by in a second. Probably one of the few good moments he had in this battle. But Av outpunched him. Av was more tailored. He out-angled them. More effort in his delivery. Was more fluid with the rap. So he outperformed him. Out-rapped him. He was just better than him at battle rap. You know what I'm saying? Every round of this battle. And I thought Hollow's first was pretty solid. Like, I thought he had some moments in there, definitely good. That's when he was hopping into the different pockets, messing around with the wordplay a little bit. Like, I thought that's when he showed the most versatility. But Av, he did have long-ass rounds. I do not love when Av brings these, like, long-ass rounds. It kind of takes away from the footage after a long night, just a little bit. But, I mean, if you're going to be good for the entirety of the round, I'm not as mad. I mean, his first, I thought he wasn't explosive, like getting haymakers off at first, but once he got into more tailored stuff at Hollow, that's actually when he was getting some of his better material of the battle off. So by the end of his first, it was a bit of a slow burn, but then by the end, I'm like, all right, he cleared this first. Like, even though it was a good Hollow first, Av turned up by the end of it. But Hollow second and third is directionless. Many, like, times where I'm thinking I have no idea what Hollow's talking about, and I think he kind of turns into a joke where it's like, that's just how boring Av is. Like, I have not anything to write about. I don't know. Well, brother Av was not bored. He had a lot to write about with you. Angled him. Character breakdown. I mean, he's punching his head off. Even the whole part about, like, Hollow, the lean, you know what I'm saying, the addictions that he's had, moving around from house to house, how his family views him in this situation. Like, he was getting after him crazy. And then, like I said, I mean, I don't think it's a shocker that Av wins in that bar for bar department. And by the time he got to the third round, he was dropping bombs on him. So Av won. I cannot call this anything but Av 3-0 clear. And if anything, it's leaning more towards a body than it is a gentleman's. I mean, it was an extremely dominant performance. And listen, now, people were mad at LTBR. I know we were part of the list, ranked Av at 9 earlier, and I think some people already attributed this win to him, right? We're confident in the win. I was pretty confident he beat Hollow, but it's just big to see it in real time, and it's probably even more dominant. There's a lot of people that had Av winning clear and still didn't foresee it being this dominant. So he adds a 30 over one of the GOAT contenders, some consider him the best ever, and he just pretty much bodied him. That's not just something that's going to help his 2024, which obviously adds to it. This is overall one of the best wins of Av's legacy, and just goes to show maybe this is why those kind of upper god tier guys don't want to see him, because they keep saying he's a punch bot, but I just watched him do every element of battle rap better than Hollow Dodon, one of the best all-around battlers ever. Where are we going to move the goalpost to now? You know what I'm saying? And then lastly, we had Eazy versus Ill Will, where I'm like, yo, Av versus Hollow was kind of ugly. I mean, it could, let's get back to a closer battle. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Eazy the Block Captain was the performer of the night. All the dominant, everyone's been good, I'm telling you about. Nobody rapped better on this card than Eazy the Block Captain. He was amazing. And there's a chance that out of especially the top tier opponents, nobody rapped worse on this card than Ill Will. Eazy's first was, off rip, I knew this was one of the best rounds I heard in a minute. He was getting after Will crazy, punching with them. We didn't hear it on the stream because it cut out, like, the audio, but he was addressing, like, Remy Ma, the whole angle in the first, counter right, and we'll talk about that a little more as the battle goes on. But his mother holding her arms out for Will like an ab roller. Like, I thought wordplay he was there, drug talk he was there, angling he was there. So then it's Will, bottom of the first. He's got a tall task, but Will, I said, is a big battle fighter. He gets about 15 seconds into his round and chokes after some missed rebuttals. I said, what? Brother, this is not pain. This is Eazy the Block Captain. What are we doing here? So Will choked. He got it back, but by then momentum was shot. And it's like you just knew it was going to be one of those nights early. Eazy's character assassination. Breaking down Will not looking out for Mac Myron. Will not utilizing his career and star power. Not really putting on for Michigan and kind of holding the region back. It was, oh my God. Like, he was talking to Will's soul. His soul. His second is incredible, and that's when I realized, oh, this is the Eazy that won those 15 battles straight, huh? Like, this is the guy. There's really no other way to put it. He is the best in the world when he gets in this bag. The energy was there. The momentum was on his side, at home, straight character breakdown after already bombing on him. I mean, Will rapped in the second, but for what it felt like. Like, Will's second wasn't even, like, terrible or nothing. Little stumbly. Obviously, he's not all the way into this battle or whatever. It's like he almost gave up early. But Eazy was up, I mean, like, a perfect 2-0 after 2 rounds. And then you get into the third round of the battle, and there's one bar I want to talk about, because once again, he was just better than Will. He out-angled. It's similar to us about Av and Hollow, but even the rebuttal-in factor doesn't, like, he just was better at everything. But he had a bar in the third. Y'all said I fucked up Black Love. Last time I checked, I'm black too. And it hit as a bomb, and we know because it's referring to like a taboo angle no one expects him to talk about, right? But this is what I want to say, and this is why I always said, and people were bitched and moaned about this, but I always said there's got to be, he's the best counter writer ever. There's got to be some better way to flip this obvious angle that's at him into something positive for him. And obviously, he tried it versus Geechee with the I still got the female, right? And he's had some bars, but like the little bit he did in this battle, he didn't give some crazy intel we never heard of or nothing like that. But just how like this bar hit just shows he was always capable of doing that shit. So everyone that was like, oh, why should he ever, like, he shouldn't address it, it wouldn't help. Yes, the fuck it would. Shut up, you know what I'm saying? And he did it fucking perfect here, which is just what a lot of us asked for all this time. So that just goes to show, what more could you ask for here? Is a prime Eazy performance. Performed fucking great. Drug talk was great. Pen-wise, he's showing sneakily he's one of the better writers in the game. And not only is he extremely tailored and surgical, he's counter-writing for the shit that you might say to him at a high level to flip it back at you. What more could you ask for? This is quite the way to get back on track after people debatably got you, you know what I'm saying, on a 3-battle losing streak. Eazy body bag over Ill Will. It just wasn't even close, which is not something you would expect for how good Ill Will has been. But maybe it speaks to the weird motivation of Ill Will. I mean, we've obviously seen for certain battles, he goes out there and he's absolutely one of the best. And then you'll have, he treated this like a Rosenberg battle or like a Payne battle. And I bet you wouldn't have expected that. And he guess he had a decent third, but it just was not close at any point. And all you can talk about here is, not only is this one of the best Eazys ever, too, low key across 3 rounds. This is kind of in that category with the Ill Will versus Rock and Ill Will versus DNA performance. You know what I'm saying? 2, star-like, expected to be kind of a war, and you see what it turned out to be. So, I mean, listen, like I said, a lot of dominant winners in this card, man. Eazy over Ill Will, Av over Hollow, Zeke King in the tourney final, Moo over Jay Moore. But, we still got a couple wars, too, with John versus Sirius and Riggs versus Tex. Zan versus Bree was pretty close. But listen, if you've seen the card, man, please let me know what you think. This is my full recap on it. I did plan on Av and Hollow maybe doing a bar for bar. Maybe I'll just do a video about Av, because there's not really a lot of bar for bar to break down. It's just slap. There's really nothing else. But please, if there is any main takeaways that you have from this card, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'm really overall impressed with these individual performances, and now it's time to go and re-rank who I think is having some of the best 2024s, who I think is on track and who I think isn't. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below about who you think Eazy the Block Captain and Av should both battle next, because I believe that we should just keep the guys that are winning in big matchups. But it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.